during the path, we change from active pause to emotional pause. When we were changing to this pause, I tell them stop. Sometimes I used to tell them, okay, let's go with emotional pause. Let's make a pause and let's do the activities. These activities were based on doing different actions. For example, in one of the activities was to know or recognize two strengths and two windows of opportunity we have as persons. One of the other activities was to recognize what are we good at. I remember that I asked them, what are you good at? And I gave them some minutes, and then they gave me their answers. In a minute, I'm gonna show you a video where you will find this, how was the class this way. And from sessions 1 to 5, I focused on recognizing the self-awareness. Sometimes at the beginning, I had to explain them first, what are social and emotional skills, and then what is self-awareness, and why it is important to develop self-awareness so as to become a different person. From sessions 6 to 12, sections 12, 6 and 12, there was an assessment. I asked them, how are you feeling? Are you feeling good? Are you liking, do you like the activities? Don't you like the activities? Feedback. And luckily for me and for my students, they like the activities, so we continue. I didn't have to make a modification on my activities. And from sessions 7 to 11, I was focused on applying the social and emotional skill of self-awareness. Okay, before giving you the results, I'm gonna show you the class, and I'm gonna explain you a little bit. It lasts like 3 minutes. So let me show it with you. There it goes. Anybody has a doubt? No? ¿Todo bien? Sure? Okay. Close your eyes. Cierren sus ojos. Inhale. Inhalen profundo, profundo. Inflen panza. Exhale. Okay, now let's check another activity. I want you to tell me, to write down, quiero que escriban, 4 things for what you are good at. Anybody wants to tell us?
Soy buena para atender, o sea, me gusta atender a la gente, tener ese servicio de que les gusta, que ofrece o que busca. Eso es lo que me gusta, es lo que me gusta de mi trabajo también.
Me considero como una buena persona escuchando a las demás, o sea, cuando necesitan apoyo o así. Bueno, me gusta mucho hacer manualidades de craft.
Okay.
Me gusta demasiado. Y pintar también me gusta mucho.
Bueno, a mí me gusta hacer postres. Casi no los hago por el tiempo, pero usualmente me gusta hacerlos. Y pues cuando lo hago me siento feliz, pero me siento nerviosa también, porque me nervioseo si no salen bien o si no les gusta a las personas. Así.
Hay tranquilidad porque cuando bailo, pues nada más escucho la música y se me sale el corazón de la realidad. Y haciendo, me gusta hacer chilaquiles.
Oh, yes. Okay, this first part was in September when we were meeting each other. I'm gonna show you in a minute the other part. And as this was first semester, at the beginning, I tried that everything should be in English, but as they are in first semester, most of their answers were given in Spanish. Sometimes some students gave them to me in English, but most of the time they were on Spanish, but I decided to continue with that because my objective with the project was not to develop the speaking skill, but to focus on the self-awareness. on developing self-awareness. Now I'm gonna show you one activity that we did in December. As you may check, you may notice, you can see the Christmas tree and everything. Okay, there it goes. Okay, now let's make a pause because I'm gonna explain to you the project. This is the last part, but I want to explain the project. First, I want you to close your eyes. Everybody close your eyes. I want you to think in all the activities you have done during the last week. Now, I want you to think on the emotions you felt. Quiero que recuerden las emociones que sintieron. Those emotions. Okay? Now, we're going to put a color. Vamos a ponerle un color. Me voy a acordar del color yellow if I was happy. Le pongo un color amarillo si estuve feliz. I'm going to put a blue color if I was sad. Le pongo y luego Hernández Galindo. Y luego Vázquez.
Ok, bueno, no sé si se alcanza a ver. Creo que no.
No veo su imagen, pero
Bueno.
explíquenos más o menos.
Bueno, yo creo que más de la mitad está feliz
Oh.
y después como muy poquita es triste y después como un tercio, no sé, un cuarto. O sea, es también poquito, no es tanto. Es asustado. Y ya la última parte pues es enojado.
Decir que en la semana estuve pues nomás como un día me sentí contenta y feliz, creo que fue el domingo, vinieron mis primos y pues yo soy mucho de convivir con personas, entonces...
Mitad rojo porque la semana jugamos un partido de fútbol que era la final.
Okay, what happened here? Well, in December, as we were having a pretty good relationship, we decided to use something according to Christmas, or to put our Christmas tree in the back to show it. And as you may notice, at the end in December, they were expressing much better their emotions. They were not using English as well, but they were open, and I really appreciate it because that became pretty good, not only for the project, but it had an impact on the class. According to my evaluation, well, according to my rubric, they have an excellent achievement level. I have to be honest. At the beginning, I was nervous. I didn't think that they could react as I wanted to, and I didn't think that they would like to do these activities because we were in online education, and they are not children. They are 18, 20, 19 or 20 years. And but luckily, both groups, preschool and primary education, they reacted pretty good to all the activities. And these images are part of the evaluation I told you about, that they have to evaluate, and they have to tell me if they didn't like, they have to give me a thumb down. If they liked it, they have to give me a up, and they sent me a drawing that they are loving the social and emotional skills. Something that I didn't think of is that it would have a direct impact on the GPA. Even though all of the students are good in all the subjects, they got a 9.2 in English, in the subject of English, which is super high for English and for normal. It was super high grade in all the subjects. It was the highest, and I can say And according to the comments and to the reactions of my students, I can say that is because not only the project, but we developed a good relationship, student teacher, and that worked pretty good for because when you have a good relationship, they ask you. They are not afraid of asking me questions if they don't understand, and they know that if they don't understand, I can explain once again. And that is something that was unexpected. The closeness, we became super close, the students and I, and they became between themselves super close also. The dynamic of the class was pretty good. I remember that I have 3 groups. With 2 groups, I used this project, and with 1 group, I didn't use it. With the 2 groups that I used, the class was given in 1 hour. And with the group that I didn't use the project, the class was given in 1 hour and a half, because the dynamic was different. And sometimes, as you may know, we struggle with the students to be focused on the class. And with these students, I don't struggle with that. I know that they are focused because I'm asking all of them. I used to ask all of them all the time randomly, and the class goes super fast. Good for us. We started to improve the evidences they gave me, not only of social and emotional skills, but the evidences of English itself. We decided to have, as you may know, here in English in first semester, we have 6 hours. And with this group, I decided to have 4 hours of face-to-face class, online education, and 2 hours for developing the evidences. At the beginning, my principal told me that it was a lot, but the students asked me. So I said, well, okay, if you need it, let's go ahead this way. Another thing that has to be taken into account is, of course, the diversity of groups. This works for some groups, but this doesn't work for other groups. So sometimes we are like, we have to know what is working, what is not working. And I really recommend to start from the first session. I think that it helped me with these 2 groups, that from the very first session, I told them this. And I was like giving them this. And I have the other group I had that I was telling you about. I started with that group in the middle of the semester. So they didn't know me, how I worked. So I struggled and they struggled to adapt ourselves to the dynamic. I think that it's mandatory, for me at least, to continue. I am continuing. In second semester, I am developing self-management. Besides self-awareness, in first semester is self-awareness. In second semester, it is self-management. And I have different social and emotional skills according to the semester. I think that it has to be going up. And I suggested for other subjects. I really recommend to do this in other subjects because that has a pretty good impact in general. My conclusions: it is pretty important to develop social and emotional competences because not only because they are in higher education, not only because they are going out of being teenagers, but because of the pandemic. Of course, the pandemic has made a bad impact, a negative impact in ourselves. And with these activities, they are like happy and they like to be in the class. I have some colleagues that they tell me, that student doesn't go in my class, but I tell them they go in my class. I don't know why. Maybe because they like the class, maybe because they enjoy the class, or maybe because of the project. Maybe even the project. And I think I'm a humanistic teacher. I'm a humanistic person, and I think that the first contact with higher education should be positive. And this is one of those things to make it positive. I really think that the students have to enjoy the class. When you enjoy the class, you learn. And this is working as a support for online education because of the pandemic SARS-CoV. That's it for me. If you have any questions, please let me know. There is my email in case you want to. As you may know, I was showing many pictures because in every month we dress differently. For example, that picture was from September, the month of cancer in women, and all of us dressed in pink. And in 12 de Noviembre, we dress with different things. And in Christmas, we dress with different things because I think that they have to enjoy the class. And the class is, it gets pretty, well, I enjoy it and I think that they enjoy it.
Okay, thank you so much, Rosalio, for your talk. We have a few minutes for one or two questions. Will anyone would like to ask a question? If you do, please activate your microphone and ask your question. Or if you want to write it in the chat, that's the other option. Okay, so if you have any questions, please let me know. And we have one question by Eva Rosalio, Eva Garcia. She says, was it difficult to deal with this method inside your school?
No, they give me, they are open to everything. So I have no problem. And the students, these two groups were open to the social and emotional skills. At the beginning, even more than difficult, they were adapting to know the method. Yes, there's an adaptation time, and they have to get adapted to it.
Okay. Any other questions? If you want to write them in the chat. We have Ada Arellano says, hi Rosalio, I really liked your talk. My question, did all your students have the opportunity to be connected in your classes?
Yes, we made a pact, and I asked them that if they don't have internet in their house, they have to look for it. And they accepted that deal, and they tell me, okay, I'm going with my aunt to take the class. I'm going with my cousin. I go to the cyber cafe, or because I tell them you have to look for options. As teachers, we always have to look for options because we are teaching teachers. And as you may know, the SEP doesn't say, okay, you can't, don't worry, poor teacher. I tell them all the time, SEP always wants you to work. So you have to start working from now and to look for options.
Thank you, Rosalio. Any other questions? We have time for maybe one more. And we have one question by Selma Galas. Thank you. Do you have an article or something written to be able to follow your work?
Yes, in EduTam is the digital magazine from El Secretaría de Educación Tamaulipas. I can write it on the chat, EduTam. It's the number 13 of the year 2021. It just was released like 1 or 2 months ago.
Okay, thank you very much, all of you, for your questions. Very interesting. And to close today's talk, I would like to thank Rosalio for his for his sharing his knowledge on the subject of social emotional competence and self-awareness. At the Benemérita y Centenaria Escuela Normal de Jalisco, we would like to present you with this certificate of participation, which reads as follows. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Benemérita y Centenaria Escuela Normal de Jalisco otorga la presente constancia a Rosalío Ovalle Morquecho por su valiosa contribución como ponente del reporte de investigación Social Emotional Competence of Self-Awareness as a Resource for Meaningful Learning in English 1, Bachelor's Degree in Elementary and Preschool Education, en el marco del Congreso Nacional de Formadores C en Escuelas Normales 2021, Guadalajara, Jalisco, 11 de junio del 2021. Okay? Well, thank you so much, Rosalío, for your time. And for the participants, I invite you to continue with the participating. At 12, we have 2 workshops. So make sure you take the opportunity to participate in one. Thank you very much for your time. And that's all for this talk. And thank you, Rosalío, for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.